Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something real today. 4 things that kill your value in front of a man. Now, I don't mean your actual worth, because trust me, you are priceless. But I'm talking about the way you carry yourself, the way you allow a man to see you. Some things make a man respect you, and some things make him look the other way. If you accept the bare minimum, that's all you're ever going to get. You can't let a man get comfortable giving you 50% when you give it 100%. A man will only rise to the level of expectation you set. If you don't demand respect, effort, and commitment, he won't give it to you. See, men are like water. They follow the path of least resistance. If they can get away with less, they will. It's not because they're bad, it's because they respond to the standards you enforce. Think about a job. If a company pays you the same salary, whether you work hard or slack off, what are you going to do? Most people will start slacking. It's human nature. Relationships work the same way. If a man knows he can show up late, cancel plans last minute, or ignore your needs and you'll still be there, then why should he do better? He's not going to magically change. He's not suddenly going to wake up and say, oh, I should start treating her better even though she accepts my worst. No, the only time a man levels up is when he knows he has to, or he'll lose you. It starts small. Maybe he forgets to text back. Maybe he doesn't plan dates anymore. You think, it's fine. He's busy. So you let it slide. Then it escalates. He stops putting in effort. He knows you'll still be around. Now you're sitting there wondering why he doesn't treat you like he did in the beginning. The answer is simple. You allowed it. The way a relationship starts is not how it stays. It's how you maintain it that matters. If you set the bar high from the beginning, he will either step up or step out. And trust me, if he steps out, he was never going to be the man you needed anyway. There's a difference between being understanding and being a doormat. Understanding means you recognize people have bad days, struggles, and moments of weakness. But being a doormat means you constantly excuse bad behavior and accept less than you deserve. Love doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. A man knows when he's doing the bare minimum. And if you let it continue, he's going to keep doing it. It's your job to set the tone for how you want to be treated. Now, let's be clear. Having standards isn't about being demanding. It's not about playing games or making a man chase you. It's about knowing your worth. It's about saying, I deserve a man who calls when he says he will, who makes me feel valued, who puts in effort, and who respects me. If a man truly wants to be with you, he will do what it takes. Men are natural hunters. When they want something, they go after it. If he's not putting in the work, it's not because he's confused. It's not because he's scared. It's because he doesn't value you enough. And if he doesn't, why are you wasting your time? Think about the most successful women you know, the ones who have strong, healthy relationships. Do you think they tolerate half-hearted effort? No. They set the bar, and the right man rises to meet it. They don't waste time begging for love or chasing validation. They know their worth, and they walk away from anything that doesn't match it. That's the kind of energy you need to have. When a man sees that you demand respect, he either respects you or leaves, and either way you win. You have to stop thinking you can change a man by loving him harder. That's not how it works. A man doesn't change because you love him more. He changes because he wants to. You could give him everything, loyalty, affection, support, but if he doesn't respect you, he won't value it. And respect starts with what you allow. Every time you ignore a red flag, you teach him that it's okay. Every time you accept an apology without changed behavior, you show him there are no consequences. That's why some men treat certain women like queens and others like an afterthought. It's not about looks or money. It's about boundaries. If you're always available, always forgiving, always giving, and never expecting anything back, you're not being loving. You're being easy to take for granted. Love should feel mutual, balanced, and fulfilling. It shouldn't feel like you're constantly proving your worth. A man should pursue you not because you played games, but because he genuinely values you. And value isn't determined by what you say, it's determined by what you accept. Stop settling for potential. Stop waiting for him to change. Stop making excuses for why he can't be better. If he wanted to, he would. When a man really cares, he doesn't risk losing you. He doesn't keep you guessing. He makes it clear through his actions, not just words. That's the truth. A man can smell desperation from a mile away, and it ain't attractive. When you're constantly chasing, begging, or bending over backward just to keep him, he starts losing respect. A queen doesn't beg for a seat at the table. She knows she is the table. Desperation changes the dynamic of a relationship. And once a man senses that you need him more than he needs you, the balance shifts in his favor. It's not about playing hard to get or pretending you don't care. It's about valuing yourself enough to know that you don't have to convince anyone to be with you. A relationship should be about mutual effort, not one person constantly proving their worth while the other just enjoys the attention. Think about the relationships you've seen where one person is always doing the most, texting first, making all the plans, forgiving everything, and tolerating inconsistency. What happens? The other person gets comfortable, takes them for granted, and starts putting in less effort. Why? Because they know they don't have to work for it. There's no fear of losing you when you make it clear that no matter what, you'll always be there. And that's the problem. When a man knows you won't leave no matter how little effort he puts in, he stops appreciating you. That's why desperation kills value. It signals that you are willing to accept whatever is given instead of demanding what you deserve. A confident woman walks into a man's life and brings value, but she doesn't make him her entire world. She has a life outside of him, her passions, her goals, her own happiness. She doesn't rearrange everything just to fit into his schedule. She doesn't beg for his time or attention. When a man sees that a woman is secure in herself, it makes her more attractive. Confidence is magnetic. It tells a man that you don't need him, you choose him. And it's a big difference. When a man knows he's being chosen, not just tolerated out of fear of being alone, he respects that. He steps up because he knows he's with someone who won't tolerate half-hearted love. On the other hand, when a woman operates from a place of desperation, it changes how she carries herself. She starts making excuses for bad behavior. She ignores the signs that he's not really invested. She convinces herself that if she just tries harder, loves him more, and does more for him, then maybe he'll change. But that's not how it works. You cannot make someone love you by overextending yourself. In fact, the more you do, the more he will take advantage of it. He will see that he doesn't have to put in any effort because you're already doing everything. And what happens when something is too easy to get? People don't value it. Men are wired to appreciate what they have to work for. It's not about playing games or making things difficult on purpose, but about understanding that a man needs to feel like he's earning his place in your life. When everything is handed to him without any effort, he starts losing interest. It's like anything in life. When you work hard for something, you cherish it more. But when it's given freely, you don't think twice about it. That's why you see men who once chased a woman lose all motivation the moment she starts doing all the work. The moment she starts bending over backward to keep him, he starts pulling away. It's not because he's evil or cruel, it's because that's human nature. The chase, the effort, the pursuit, it all plays a role in how much a man values a relationship. When you give too much without receiving in return, you're teaching him that you don't require effort. And once that expectation is set, it's hard to undo. You can't start out giving everything and then suddenly expect him to step up later. He won't. He'll be confused because you already showed him that he doesn't need to do more. That's why setting the standard early is so important. From the start, you need to show that your time, your love, and your energy are valuable, and they aren't just given to anyone who asks. Some women fear that if they don't do enough, the man will leave. And the truth is, maybe he will. But if a man only stays because you're the one doing all the work, is that really the kind of relationship you want? You shouldn't have to prove your worth to someone who doesn't see it on their own. You shouldn't have to lower your standards just to keep someone interested. If you feel like you have to constantly chase a man, you're already in the wrong situation. A high-value woman knows when to walk away. She knows that love is supposed to feel reciprocated, not one-sided. She doesn't sit around waiting for a man to realize her worth. She already knows it. She doesn't lose herself in a relationship because she understands that her happiness isn't dependent on someone else. That's the kind of energy that makes a man step up. When he sees that you are perfectly fine on your own, he realizes that he has to bring something valuable to the table. He knows that you're not desperate for his love, and that makes you even more attractive. Desperation pushes a man away while confidence pulls him in. It's not about arrogance or playing hard to get. It's about knowing that you are worthy of love and respect without having to beg for it. A man will only treat you as well as you demand to be treated. If you accept crumbs, that's all you'll ever get. But if you set a standard, the right man will rise to meet it and the wrong one will fade away. And that's exactly what you want. How you treat yourself teaches a man how to treat you. If you allow toxic behavior, constant excuses, or emotional neglect, you send a message. I don't value myself enough to walk away. The way you talk about yourself, the way you let people treat you, it all matters. A man watches what you tolerate, and that tells him everything he needs to know. If you constantly forgive disrespect, he knows he doesn't have to change. If you keep accepting apologies without changed behavior, he realizes there are no real consequences. And once he knows there are no consequences, the cycle continues. People don't treat you based on who they are. They treat you based on what you allow. Think about the strongest women you know, the ones who command respect, who seem to have relationships where they're cherished and valued. Do you think they got there by accepting half-hearted love? No. They set the tone from the beginning. They don't entertain men who bring confusion and inconsistency. They don't waste time explaining why they deserve better. They already know they do, and they walk away from anything less. Self-respect is not about being harsh or cold. It's about understanding your worth so deeply that you refuse to participate in anything that diminishes it. When a man sees that you respect yourself, he understands that being with you is a privilege, not a right, and privileges must be earned. If he disrespects you, he loses access. It's that simple. But too often women give unlimited chances. They accept behavior they know isn't right because they're afraid of losing the man. But what's the point of keeping someone who doesn't respect you? A relationship without respect is just loneliness with company. You have to be willing to enforce your boundaries. A boundary without consequences is just a suggestion. If you tell a man, I won't tolerate dishonesty, but then you catch him lying and do nothing, you've taught him that your words mean nothing. He now knows that lying comes with no real cost. And when there's no cost, there's no change. A man needs to feel that if he doesn't treat you right, he will lose you, not as a threat, but as a reality. Because a woman who truly respects herself doesn't wait around hoping a man will change. She leaves when she sees he won't. It starts with small things. Maybe he cancels plans last minute without a real reason. Maybe he dismisses your feelings when you express concern. Maybe he jokes about things that hurt you and expects you to just laugh it off. If you let these things slide, they grow. What starts as a minor disregard for your feelings turns into full-blown emotional neglect. And by the time you realize how much you've accepted, it feels too late to change anything. But it's never too late. The moment you decide to respect yourself is the moment you change the way people treat you. A man notices how you carry yourself. If you apologize too much, he starts to believe that everything is your fault. If you constantly seek his approval, he realizes he can withhold it to control you. If you make him the center of your world, he starts acting like he's above you. And this isn't because men are cruel. It's just how human psychology works. People will always test boundaries, even unconsciously. That's why you must set them early and enforce them consistently. When you treat yourself with respect, it changes everything. You stop over-explaining. You stop trying to convince someone to value you. You stop waiting for a man to recognize your worth, because you already recognize it yourself. And the moment you do, you start attracting different kinds of men. The ones who see your strength and admire it. The ones who step up instead of pulling back. The ones who don't need to be taught how to love you the right way. They just do. But that only happens when you stop making excuses for bad behavior. Stop believing that if you just love him more, he'll change. Stop hoping that one day he'll wake up and suddenly appreciate you. A man appreciates what he has to earn. If you make yourself too easy to take for granted, he will. If you don't demand effort, he won't give it. If you let disrespect slide, he will keep pushing those limits. This is why respecting yourself isn't just about how you feel, it's about what you allow. You can't expect a man to treat you better than you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself last, he will too. If you let people walk over you in other areas of your life, he'll think it's okay to do the same. Confidence is built through actions. The more you respect yourself, the more natural it becomes. You stop explaining why you deserve better because your actions already show it. You stop chasing love because you understand that the right love won't require chasing. And let's be clear, self-respect doesn't mean acting like you don't care. It doesn't mean playing games or being distant just to test him. It means knowing when to walk away. It means not lowering your standards just to keep someone interested. It means understanding that love should feel safe, not like a battle for validation. A man who values you will rise to meet your standards. A man who doesn't will complain that you're asking for too much. Let him go. The most powerful thing you can do in a relationship is to know your worth so deeply that you never settle for less. When a man sees that you hold yourself to a high standard, he either steps up or steps aside. And that's exactly what you want. Because the right man won't be intimidated by your self-respect. He'll be inspired by it.